All right, guys, welcome back into another PGA DFS live stream. Got a new setup going as well, as you guys can see here in the background. First time doing the live stream in this new setup. I'm a little bit worried about maybe the internet connection down here, so hopefully it goes well. We'll see. Definitely like the new setup better here. Going to be easier to do content. Might have to do some more live streams, especially if this goes well today, connection wise. Let's get it. Charlie's ready to go. I'm excited for this one. Brian says let's go as well. It's going to be a good one. The Valero Texas Open, definitely going to be an interesting week. And just kind of touching on one of the common questions that I got throughout this week is a lot of people are worried about the weather. Okay, we don't have to worry about the weather. The weather report, is saying that we don't have to worry about the weather. Okay, in years past, and this is why the question was getting brought up a lot, in the years past, the Valero Texas Open has seen some massive windy conditions pretty much the past 4 years. 20 plus mile per hour winds 2 of the 4 years, and then 30 plus mile per hour winds the other 2 years. So yes, we have seen some windy conditions here. So it's pretty shocking that we're not going to get those windy conditions this year. Kind of surprising that we don't have to worry about it. And to me, I'm wondering if it's going to play a little bit easier this year than it has in years past. Maybe the cut line will be -2 instead of even par like it typically has been, because obviously if it's not as windy, it's not going to be as difficult conditions to play in. Going to be an interesting kind of thing to look for in this tournament. I don't know. I'm being a stat guy and a data guy. I'm really focusing on that. I'm going to have fun watching that. Want to get your thoughts on Gim Ha and then touch on Bactia when you get a chance. So Charlie is wondering about Gim and Ha, and I'll pull those two up here. Let me actually just pull them up on. Got so many tabs going now, guys. Too much information at some point there. I got everyone covered. It's pretty much everyone that wants to do DFS. I got them covered somehow with all the tools there. Kind of a full feature product now. Pull them up here though. So what was it? Doug Gim. So the problem with the 7.5 and under price point range is that we have a ton of quality plays, okay? You really shouldn't be married to anyone down there at that price point range. You should really be spreading it out pretty much as you can. Pull them up here on the big screen. Reading one of the other comments there, but I'll get into that. So Doug Gim there. So he does rank out top 10 in the model. That is because he's not getting knocked, or I should just say knocked, for not having course history. He doesn't have any course history here, and that's kind of the worry. The last 4 years hasn't played here. Stat rank, top 12. Obviously, that's pretty good. We like that. Recent form rank could be a little bit better, but that's kind of the nature of rostering Doug Gim. Very much hit or miss. You know, he's a quality play, good stat fit. He's a guy that could easily go out and finish top 10, but he's a guy that could easily miss a cut. Really not going to shock us either way. It's really up to you. If you're making a cash build, I would definitely look elsewhere. Probably would look towards someone like John Ha there for you. Let's pull up John Ha. So John Ha also a really strong stat fit, top 10 there. We like that. Recent form could be, I guess it could be a little bit better, but it's not been bad. I mean, one miscut there at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, and the thing about that miscut at the Waste Management Phoenix Open was literally just one bad round. Shot 68 and then a 74. Other than that, the guy has been making a bunch of cuts. We do like to see that a lot. Now let's look at course history. Course history could be a little bit better. It does leave a little bit to be desired there. Top 22 finish, that's fine. We'll take that. But then a 72nd, made cut there, and then a miscut. Overall, I don't mind him, especially at that price point. And that's the thing. We have a lot of quality plays at lower price points where if one of them missed a cut, not going to kill you too much. Time to win some money, Infamous says. All right. Can you comment on the appropriate size of a TV you should be watching for the Masters? Let's just see here. Back there, I don't know. It really depends on your work schedule, I guess, for you. I know my appropriate TV size will be about a 24-inch monitor for Thursday, Friday. I think a lot of us will be on that same category there, and then it's just probably a separate little laptop, and then have the Masters going on the TV there Saturday and Sunday. That's pretty much going to be the weekend there. Honestly, guys, this time of year is the best, from like March Madness on to pretty much until football season. It's like really the best time of year because sports start to pick up. We got those fun sports, the Masters there, the players are there, a lot of the best golf tournaments. It's just a great time there. I do want to talk about ownership a little bit here. Let's pull it up. So, not shocking at all. Corey Connors is projected to me be the highest owned player. Then we got Jordan Spieth, a little bit shocking there. Charlie Hoffman, Ryan Palmer, Tony Finau. I am kind of curious. We'll just sort it by kind of the high tier. All right, so TJ still getting a little bit of ownership, slight. And then Matt Kuchar, no surprise that he's the lowest owned. Hideki, lowest owned, that's no surprise. Brendan Steele being the lowest owned, a little bit shocking there. Brendan Steele casually checking all the boxes. So Brendan Steele, really not a bad play at his price point. Kind of cheap, but I mean, all these guys are projected to have high ownerships. And obviously, all of them can't have that high of ownerships. I mean, the thing that we're seeing here is that a lot of lineups are going to be built pretty much with two players in the high tier is what we're seeing here. Very interesting there. We can see the kind of roster construction everyone's going with there. It's that play two of those guys in the high end. And I would say DraftKings did a bad job with the salaries this week, but it wasn't horrible. I mean, Corey Connors, Charlie Hoffman, they definitely should have been higher priced than they were, but only like, 5,000 or 500 more. So it wasn't too crazy. Chris Clark going to be high owned. We know that. Keegan Bradley, high owned. That's a little bit shocking to me. Let's see here. Sam Burns, 20% of lineups could get burned by Sam Burns there at that high ownership. That's a little bit shocking to me because he's a GPP play. He's a solid GPP play. Great staff fit. But if you're telling me that 20% of lineups are being that risky, I don't know. That's a little bit crazy to me. And that's really been the theme of this season is that it's been higher variance, so a lot of people have been much more risky with their lineup construction. Someone like Sam Burns, almost 20% owned. Then we see like Doug Gim, 15% owned. On a normal year, those guys would probably be like, Sam Burns would probably be 12, Doug Gim would probably be like 10. It's just kind of crazy the amount of people are chasing like stat fit pretty much this year, where it's a little bit higher risk. People have been chasing that a lot more because obviously if they hit, it's going to be a top 10 finish. It's kind of risk reward there. Obviously, those good stat fits, if they make the cut, they're going to play well. But it's pretty surprising to see that people have done that. Then just out of curiosity, I'm going to look at the value plays. Which value plays have the highest ownership there? Then if you guys have like roster questions at all, definitely get those in. I'll get those answered. Roger Sloan. Oh, baby. I get it. Will Gordon, Kevin Chappell. Kevin Chappell, great course history here. Been playing okay recently. Had that one good start. Jim Furyk. I thought Jim Furyk was going to be higher owned. Am I the only one that's shocked about that? Jim Furyk at 10%. That might be the takeaway for us. See, guys, I hate talking about ownership. It's mostly just fluff because for the most part, you just play the best players. You just make your best lineup possible. But the fact that a top 10 in the model play is only 10% owned, and I'll pull them up here, or it's too many tabs going once again. Jim Furyk here. We'll pull them up because that's insane to me. I'll get into Straka there. That's a good question. So Jim Furyk here, guys. Recent form rank. He missed the cut in his last event. Missed the cut on the number. We know that. Missed that birdie putt on 17. We would have liked that. Fine stat rank play. Fine course history. 2 straight make cuts. The recent form has been there as well. It's just not the wrong play here. I like him. Not the wrong play. Yeah, people just they got burned by Jim Furyk at the Honda Classic, I think, and just said nope. Not again because he's a dinosaur, like Brian is saying. He is old, but he's accurate. He's a good player. I'm curious as to pull him up on the specialist page. I did this earlier in the week. I'm just going to pull him up again. Just over the last 3 months, I want to see what he did. And I want to see why he missed the cut once again. So we can see just overall very solid. Effective drives gained is going to be low, 83rd in that. We kind of get that effective total driving, we get that, but everything else is pretty darn spectacular. 64th in effective ball striking. That's a little bit worrisome. Strokes gained total though, still top 40. Let's get the iron stats out of there. And then I want to pull up total accuracy, effective greens gained, and effective ball striking. So yeah, I mean, he didn't play poorly at the Honda Classic. He didn't. Probably putted a lot more better than expected. I guess that kind of saved him there. Did lose a bunch of strokes off the tee there, tee to green and strokes off the tee. Strokes gain approach was one of his worst of the year. I don't know, guys. I like him as a pick. So let's get into Seb Straka here. So Seb Straka, he's another player that I can bring up on the specialist page. Better to be there to get the full picture of what he's been doing. So over the last 3 months, he's been getting worse. That's what this is telling us. Strokes gained total has been getting worse over the last 3 months. We see that. But he has been improving in accuracy, has been improving in kind of just overall control of the golf ball. So that's good. You know, eventually, if those stats are doing well, and that's why I look at it, if those stats are doing well, the rest of your game will eventually come around. I do like looking at that. But let's just look at the last, 5 weeks or so. And, the Corrales, they'll get updated in here as well. They don't have strokes gain data, which is why it's not up there. Overall, I get it, though. I like him as a pick. I do. I don't mind Seb Straka as a pick. I want to see his ownership now that we're talking about him as well. Let's see. 10% ownership for Seb Straka. I like him as a pick. If you guys end up on him, you end up on him. 10%, that's pretty good. To me, he is the same as like John Hudd, slightly worse than John Hudd, Doug Gim, Sam Ryder. He's essentially the same play to me as those guys. So if you end up on Seb Straka, you end up on Seb Straka. There's no real reason not to believe that he can't play as well as those other guys at that same price point range. Not going to rank out too well in the model. Bad course history. Okay recent form. Okay staff hit, top 30 in that. Yeah, I don't mind it. So let's see here. Austin Eck, I don't know how to say his last name. I don't mind him though. He was a guy that was popping in the model a little bit. Threw him in about 5% of ownership there. That's pretty much it. I'm curious, can you guys hear that phone ringing on this? Very interested to see if you guys can hear that. I was worried about that. It's the only worry there. Furyk burned a lot of people. That's probably why. That's probably why he's not high owned. Thoughts on Harold Varner? So Varner is one of those players that I did end up on a lot, especially as the week went on. Just like thinking it over, Harold Varner just seems like the right pick, doesn't he? Just you're going through all your lineup process. You're just looking over the player pool and whatnot, and he just keeps standing out. One, because he seems like he's going to make the cut. He's made 3 out of 4 cuts here in a row. Good finishes in those made cuts. Finally was coming into some strong recent form, which is what we want to see. 4 straight made cuts in a row. That's excellent. We like to see that. Top 20 at the Honda Classic. We like to see that. Now, the stats aren't going to be the best. Top 40, that's not bad, but he's another one of those guys where, we can pull him up here on the specialist page, see how well he's been doing recently to get the full picture. So let's see here. So over the last, let's do 3 months. Let's go by 3 months. I want to see the last 3 months. So last 3 months, not exactly improving in strokes gained. And this is a perfect example why I like to look at the effective stats here. How bad was it, Infamous? Could you hear the phone by a lot or not? I'm curious. Was it like really loud or just kind of faint? Might have to get that taken care of if that's the case. But this is why I like to look at effective stats here. This is why I've included this, guys, because it tells the full picture. Strokes gained stats do not always tell the full picture. We can see, he has been losing strokes, but he's been better in effective drives gained. We like to see that. Effective total driving, been getting better there. Effective ball striking, been getting better there. Effective greens gained, been getting better there. And then total accuracy has been getting better as well. That's why we like to look at that as well, because eventually if you're hitting the ball well, if you're playing effectively, essentially, the strokes gain data is going to start to come around. That's pretty much why I like to look at it. That's why I started to include that. That's why I started to notice that as well. Players like Billy Horschel, when they're not exactly great stat fits because they suck in strokes gains categories, I was wondering why they weren't popping. Well, now we know why. But we can see, like, over his last 4 weeks, which were his last 4 tournaments here, been getting better. Strokes gain total has been slightly better. Everything else has been slightly better there. So I don't mind him. Let's just scroll down here. Does grade out some that should be right around the cut line. You know, you wish that strokes gained total would be a little bit better, but overall, I like him as a pick. You have a landline? Come on, man. Hey, don't worry about it there, Brian. Everyone, HV3 gets talked up. He disappoints. Is he getting talked up a lot? That's my worry, because you're right. Every single time when HV3 gets talked up, he does. He just talks bombs. And maybe that's why it took him a while to finally bounce back, because people were talking him up a lot and then he just let them down. And maybe that finally got to him. I really think that golfers are more in tune to like the DFS community, the betting community, because you see these players that are chalk miss the cut a lot lately, like Harold Varner. And we'll see if he pulls up here. So 15%, that's not bad. But you really see it a lot where the players that are randomly getting talked up one week, they just have a bad week. And that's Harold Varner. That could be Harold Varner this week if he's getting talked up. 50%, though, that's not that bad. Sam Ryder or Sloan to close out the build. Curious as to what you're playing on there. Definitely Sam Ryder. I shouldn't say definitely. It's really not a bad question. They actually are comparable. Damn, that's a good question. What site are you on? I'm kind of curious there. Gotta pull Varner out. I really like Roger Sloan this week. I do. Sam Ryder has better course history. Recent form ranks relatively the same. Stat rank, Sloan's going to win that. Course history, obviously Sloan missed the cut here last year. We can see recent form here. Kind of comparable. Sam Ryder's been interesting because he has had much bigger, better upside. Top 10 at the Farmers, top 10 at the Honda, and then top 10 at the Corrales. You know, much better upside recently. Sloan hasn't been bad, though. 3 straight top 25 finishes. We like that. Been a little bit more consistent in his game. A little bit better of a stat fit as well. That's actually tough. Technically, the model's telling us Sam Ryder. And I'll tell you guys what, more times than not, the model has been right. There's been a lot of weeks this year where I'm like, damn, why the fuck did I just trust the model? So by default, and this is where you could make a 50-50 decision maker, I'm going with Sam Ryder because of that. Now, if you want to pull them up on the specialist page, I guess we could do that as well. We'll pull those two up and compare them on the specialist page here. Sam Ryder, it's going to be tough because Sam Ryder played at the Corrales, so we don't exactly have that. Same thing with Roger Sloan here, where we don't have that data, which sucks. I wish we did. One day, I'm curious, what do you guys think? How long until we actually start getting them with the shot tracker at those courses, at those at those alternate field events? 5 years? I could see 5 years from now. So what do we got? Over the past 11 weeks, Roger Sloan has been the better player than Sam Ryder. We can see strokes gained total, not that good for Sam Ryder over the past 11 weeks, where Roger Sloan, top 35, average rank there in his tournaments. That's pretty good. But when Sam Ryder has made the cut, he has played well. Let's see here. Bad conditions, Sloan plays better. Dang, that's a good question. I mean, Sloan, that's tough. That's really tough. I get why you're asking it there. I'm still going to go Ryder. I'm still going to trust the model, but that's a great question. Oh, it's FanDuel. Curious as to the lineup process there because you're probably getting a pretty solid lineup going there. Any thoughts on Will Gordon? I'm between him and Fierk. Will Gordon, I don't mind. Does seem like this would be a spot where he would disappoint. It's nice to see him like casually playing better recently. We like to see that. That's a good thing. Fear, trust the model. Oh man, the amount of times I've just should have trusted the model this year and I didn't. Has been a little frustrating there. Huh. Oh, freaking William Gordon. I get so mad about the stats with that for Will Gordon. Let's see here. I'll pull him up on the specialist page. Let's see if he pulls up. Yeah. All right. This is something where I do have to get this corrected. They changed this recently on PGA Tour from William Gordon, or I think it might have been from Will Gordon to William Gordon, and DraftKings hasn't corrected it yet, so like the data isn't coming in at the same time. And I already corrected on most of them, but not all of them. So dumb. I like Fear better. That's pretty much the simple answer there. Is I like Fear better. Don't mind Will Gordon as a price point. The problem with Will Gordon is that you got Nate Lashley there, a little bit better of a player. You know, trust him a little bit more. Ranks out well in the model, top 50, should make the cut. And then you got Sloan there in DraftKings. Who else is there? Chappie, Kevin Chappell. Chappie, what's that from? For the Love of the Game, the baseball game, opening day tomorrow. Good reference for that. For the Love of the Game, any of you guys ever see that movie? Great movie with Kevin Costner. Yeah, Kevin Chappell, top 42 in the model. Course history, been a stud. I'd probably rather go with him than I would William Gordon there. Let me switch back slide. It is very interesting though this week with the. It did seem like everyone was preparing for it to be a high wind week, and I was ready to go with that specialist page, ready to sort it by windy conditions, bad to worse windy conditions, to see who had the best strokes gained in those conditions in the field. And we just didn't get it. Let's hope that weather doesn't change. I know a lot of people were talking about doing lineups where they favor the morning only and then they do afternoon only. I mean, that's never a bad idea, but to the point where that's really your main roster construction for the week, it does seem like some people are going to trap themselves by doing that. So definitely watch out for that. I probably would just advise you guys to make your best builds. Once again, really the only time I'm favoring weather conditions, unless it's very drastic, unless we can see that, is on the showdown slates. More times than not, you want to favor the players with the morning tee times on the showdown slate. So if you guys are playing like round one showdown slate, obviously you want to favor those morning tee times a little bit more than you would the afternoon tee times. Same thing for round two. You would much rather want to favor the morning tee times in round two for the most part. Obviously that's like 60-40 there. It's not like someone playing in the afternoon can't play well. We saw that at the Corrales a ton. There's a lot of quality players last week at the Corrales that had a round two. I do want to mention something here before I go as well. The live leaderboard and showdown page. Now, for a lot of the 9 to 5 members, they probably know this already. For some of you that aren't, I'm curious. I don't think it's switched over yet. Yeah, so it hasn't switched over from the tournament just yet, from last week's tournament. But I do want to point this out, is that this does change throughout the week, so it's not exactly how it was. But just going into round two, Joel Damon was like right here. He was like the 7th most likely to win going into round two. That has been the theme since I started doing this win ranks leaderboard, is that the winner has been in this top 10 going into the second round. So after the first round, we've been highly able to predict who's going to win. Now, obviously, I don't think that's going to continue at that rate. That's going to start to adjust slowly, but I did want to point that out, that has been a theme. That's just another one of those things that we are, bringing in data-wise to kind of make it more predictable, is that, hey, we can make those adjustments after round one, because honestly, a lot of the missed cuts this year have been due to a poor, round one. And then we can really adjust after that, by pulling up that win rank. Both. Did I miss your... Oh, Danny Willett. I missed that. So Danny Willett. Yeah, let's cover him. So Danny Willett, I feel like you were wanting to be on him because of the weather conditions. I'm going to guess. Is that accurate? I'm guessing you wanted to be on Danny Willett just due to the weather conditions. Danny Willett, he's plays well at tougher tracks. He plays well in those windy conditions. So I would imagine that's kind of why you were favoring him. Doesn't look like we're going to get that this week, so there's no real reason to force him in. When we first saw the tournament pop up, that it was the Valero Texas Open, I was like, hey, Danny Willett might not be a bad pick. That was my thought process as well. And then as the week went on, decided, hey, don't need to be on Danny Willett this week. No need to force that. But I'm gonna be wrapping up here. Got a few more minutes, so if you guys have any more questions, get those in. Always happy to help. If not, I'll be wrapping up here shortly and we'll be good to go. It's nice though. Some of you guys know, some of you guys don't. I was moving pretty much this whole week. That's why I got a whole new setup going. One, it was kind of sad to say goodbye to the old setup, the little corner spot in the apartment, but I'm not going to miss that. I'm not going to miss the corner spot in the apartment. But hey, that's where really 9 to 5 was developed, in that corner part of my apartment. All you guys know, you saw the background back then. The last 3 years, it's kind of crazy, kind of surreal morning for me. Pretty much put that all in the past. Now I'm ready. This is go time. I'm gonna start building this bad boy up a lot now. A lot more content pushing out there. Hopefully adding another sport in the next 6 months. In the coverage that we do like this, I want to continue this foolproof pretty much coverage for you guys. But it doesn't look like we have any more questions coming in. Give it about 2 more minutes here and I'll get out of here. We'll be doing the showdown coverage as well. I know the last kind of 2 weeks have been a little hit or miss, and that's mostly because I was trying to do it when I had time. We'll be able to do like much more structured content now as well. So pretty pumped for that, guys. I'm honestly a lot more room, a lot more time to do more stuff, which is going to be great. But yeah, that's it. I'm going to be wrapping up here. Let's get to the end screen. Now I'll give you guys a send off. But yeah, thanks for coming into the live stream. Definitely start to come in here more often, guys. It's going to be right around this time going forward as well. If that needs to be adjusted, we can adjust that for you guys as well. Obviously, just trying to help the most people out as possible. So if you guys enjoy this video, please give me a like and subscribe. If you guys want to join 9 to 5 Nation, click the link in the description. It is below. Got all these tools here for you guys. Really, there's more tools than you need. Really, you only need the cheat sheet, but it's fun to look at everything else.